We're here back at the Fantasy Bar, sixth place for you on Fanduel and Draftkings for week 9, including a quarterback I think is in a tremendous spot at a value price, a couple high-risk, high-reward wide receivers, some running backs I think are in a good spot, and of course, my favorite play of the week. Who is it? Belly up to the Fantasy Bar and find out. Welcome in, guys. Week 9 edition Beers Daily Fantasy 6-pack. Thank you for joining us here in the Fantasy Bar and checking out this week's video. Now, before we get into the plays, a couple things. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button as well. Really helps us out over on YouTube. And make sure you're checking out every Wednesday, the Fanduel OGs going live, talking the entire main slate with our favorite plays, our favorite bets, and a special contest for the listeners of that show. And of course, you guys here in the Fantasy Bar, check it out at fanduel.com/OG. Also, make sure you head over to scoresandodds.com/beer. Link in the description of the video for all of your sports betting needs. All right, let's talk some week 9 on Fanduel and DraftKings. Let's start at the quarterback position with Taysom Hill of the Saints. Now, I know this one we're going to have to wait and see. Make sure he's back in that lineup, but I'm fully expecting Taysom Hill to return. All the reports sound positive. If he's under center this week, I want him in the majority of my lineups here, especially at just 5,500 on DraftKings. You look back to some of his starts last season, we're talking multiple touchdowns every single time. We know the rushing upside that he has. It gives us a really big ceiling in DFS. In fact, this guy averaged over 22 DraftKings points a game in those starts. We're getting 22 at 5,500. You do the math, easy 4x return there for us at the quarterback position. In this matchup, very advantageous for the Saints and Taysom Hill. The Falcons allow the 5th most fantasy points and 4th most rushing yards to quarterbacks. That's the bread and butter here of Taysom Hill. If he's back, he's in our lineups. If not, we will make the adjustments. Love this spot here this week against the Atlanta Falcons. All right, to the wide receiver position. I think it's a little bit underpriced this week, especially on DraftKings. That's Amari Cooper of the Cowboys. So just 5,700 here makes him a very good cash game play here. Tournaments, we know the upside this guy has, and we want to take advantage of these prices when we got him. Even on FanDuel at under 7K, I think is a great buy there. So it sounded like Dak Prescott should be back in that lineup this week. Sounds like he's all systems go. Obviously, a good thing for this offense. Now, I know we saw Cooper put up a massive game with Cooper Rush, but we've also seen some huge games out of him with Dak Prescott here. Dallas, big-time team total here, approaching 30 points against this Denver defense who just traded away Von Miller. I think the Cowboys going to smash here. Make a big reason why. Amari Cooper here against this Denver Broncos secondary. All right, let's stay in the mid-range with our next pick at running back. We're going with Myles Gaskin of the Dolphins. I know Gaskin been frustrating. If you're a season-long owner, if you play DFS, had that one big game against Tampa Bay. Other than that, I've been pretty ho-hum this season. But when you look at all the factors that we want in our running back, he is checking all the boxes for me. First of all, great price here for Gaskin. He's not going to have the entire workload to himself. We know Ahmad, Laird, those guys are going to work in a little bit, but he'll be the bigger part of this committee. He's a big home favorite, which we also like for our running backs, and a guy that also gets involved in the passing game. We're talking 6 targets a week over the last 4, so I know there's a lot of guys there when Parker is healthy, but Gaskin's certainly been a guy that Tua has looked for. The best news here, Houston, terrible against the run. In fact, the worst in the league according to DVOA, and the worst in giving up rushing yards, allowed the most in that department as well. So as frustrating as Myles Gaskin has been, I think this is a week we can trust him here against this terrible Houston Texans secondary. All right, back to the wide receiver position. This one not going to be for everybody. A little boom bust here with Bryan Edwards of the Raiders. Now, we've all seen the Henry Ruggs story. Awful, awful tragedy there. We're going to focus on the fantasy part here. And the fantasy part is there's going to be additional opportunities for guys in this offense. Now, we know Darren Waller is the alpha here in this passing game. We know Hunter Renfrow going to be a guy that gets a lot of looks, and he's probably your safer cash game type play. But I want to go with Bryan Edwards here in tournaments. Again, this is not a play for everybody, and these are all the picks in the 6-pack. You don't like them, you don't agree with them, hey, move on. I'm giving you my opinion, guys, that I want to take a shot on here, and Edwards certainly one of those guys. So Renfrow will be popular with good reason. Again, great cash game play, plenty of upside in tournaments, but I like the upside here for Edwards as well, especially against this secondary. 9th most fantasy points allowed to the wide receiver position this season. We've seen him flash in spots. We know the talent is there. We've heard all the reports. I'm thinking that all comes together here at a very cheap price point on both Fanduel and Draftkings. All right, we're going to stay in the mid-range here, making life easy on those lineup builds at tight end, going back to the well on Dallas Goedert of the Eagles. So we've had a lot of Goedert here in the six-pack over the past couple weeks, but the guy's been productive for us, so why not keep going back to that well? In fact, last week, this team barely had to throw at all. Jalen Hurts only attempted 14 passes in that game. Game script got away. They were able to go very, very run-heavy in that one, but on 14 attempts, Dallas Goedert got half of those targets. 7 targets on 14 attempts is absolutely incredible. Caught 6 of those passes here. They're not going to be able to get away with that game plan here against a much better LA Chargers team who's going to put up points. This game could be a back and forth. We see a 50 on the total here in this game, and the Chargers have struggled at the tight end position, have faced some good ones, no doubt, but second most DraftKings points allowed to this position. Goedert, clearly the guy Jalen Hurts is looking for the most, and I don't think that changes here this week against the LA Chargers. All right, it's time to take a look at my favorite play for week 9. But before we do that, we want to continue our Beast of the Week contest. A thank you to you guys for watching the video, for hitting that thumbs up button. All you got to do, get in the comment section right below the video and guess fantasy points for my favorite play of the week on DraftKings. The closest guess is going to win themselves a free month of RotoGrinders Premium. That's right, a chance to check everything out behind the scenes, all the premium access you're going to need for a month. So without further ado, let's take a look. My favorite play for week 9, you know, Mass, the Beast of the Week. All right, Beast time. We owe you one more running back. We're going to correlate here with our Dallas Goedert play and go to the other side with Austin Ekeler of the Chargers, this week's Beast of the Week. So very, very consistent here with Austin Ekeler. We can throw that Baltimore game out. Outside of that, 22 or more DraftKings points in 5 of his last 6 games. We're talking targets every single week. We saw that disaster in week 1 where he wasn't targeted. They switched that up and fixed that issue very, very quickly. 5 or more targets now in each of the last 6 games. In fact, 8.5 targets per game over the last 2. So the role's starting to get even a little bit bigger. Philadelphia has struggled with this running back position. Second most fantasy points allowed and second most receptions allowed to the running back position, which obviously is the way Austin Ekeler can beat you here. Again, we talked about the high scoring game. There's correlation on the other side, whether it's Jalen Hurts, whether it's Dallas Goedert. Love this spot here for Austin Ekeler in all formats on both sites, making him easily my favorite play on the board in this week's Beast of the Week. All right, guys, that wraps up for the Fantasy Bar here in week 9. If you have any comments, questions, feedback, hit me up in that comment section right below the video. Don't forget, fantasy points for Austin Ekeler on DraftKings for your shot at a free month of RotoGrinders Premium. Scoresandodds.com/beer, the link in the description for everything sports betting. Compare odds across all the different sports books and premium picks from some of your favorite RotoGrinders personalities, myself included. You want some of my favorite bets? Head over to scoresandodds.com/beer. And lastly, come play against the OGs. Fanduel.com/OG Head Shopper Notorious and myself in that contest. Big time prizes and a season-long payout as well. Go check it out today. For RotoGrinders.com, I am Beer saying salut, guys. Thank you for watching. Best of luck this week. Make sure you check out my Yahoo video, which will be dropping later today or tonight. 6 more picks for you to check out, guys. Good luck. Again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you.
Hey, thanks for checking out our videos. If you want more expert advice on DraftKings, FanDuel, or any other daily fantasy sports, make sure you check out the current videos playlist